Can't see very well, you can sure move. I turned off a couple lights just to make it a little bit clearer. Welcome to parents and families of our incoming second grade students. So for some of you, this might be the first time you have a student coming to Titan Hill. And for some of you, you may already have a student here or a student who has gone through Titan Hill. My name is Mrs. Barker. I am the principal here at Titan Hill. So I'm going to start us off this evening. And then all of these wonderful people that you see standing up here are all teachers that will be working with your second grader next year. So we'll introduce them, some of them will speak with you tonight, and then you'll have an opportunity to kind of walk around the school and tour some of the parts of the school that your student will spend some time in and talk a little bit more with some of our staff. So, Mrs. Hoffman is our associate principal. She is actually out on maternity leave. She had a baby at the end of April, little Emmett, and they are doing wonderful, but she is not here with us this evening. Another person not pictured is we are adding an administrative intern next year to Titan Hill. We're very excited about that for such a large building. And her name is Arlisha Shaw. She's coming to us from Bellevue Public Schools. In the office, you may recognize Miss Rocio, Miss Lori, and Miss Mindy. They are our 3 secretaries that work really hard to support our students and staff and our families, and our students love them. They will get to know them very well as they move through the office. On to the second grade teachers. Second grade teacher, if you just want to give a wave when I announce your name, we have Mrs. Brewer, Mrs. Cox, and Mrs. Dixon. We also have Mrs. Longmire. Mrs. Matney is a new teacher with us for next year. And Mrs. Devine is moving from 5th grade to 2nd grade next year. She is a brave soul. I was a 5th grade teacher. And the lowest I went was 3rd. So brave soul, Ms. Devine. Other 2nd grade teachers, Ms. Gibson, Ms. Sitters, and Mrs. Kerber. All right, Ms. Fisher is our art teacher that will be working with our 2nd grade students, and Mr. Bry is the PE teacher who will be working with our 2nd grade students. He is coaching this evening. Mrs. Jacoby will be teaching music to your 2nd graders, and if you happen to catch any of our Titan Hill musicals, you know they are in very good hands. Mrs. Neitzer will be teaching library to your students. Mrs. Scheckinger is our K-5 ELL teacher. Ms. Jones is our special education teacher for 2nd grade. And Mrs. Szynski is moving into a new role for next year from 3rd grade to our K-3 tag teacher position. Our Title I reading teachers are Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Hodwalker, and Mrs. Fredrickson. And our 2nd and 3rd grade school counselor is Mrs. Johnson. Is Mrs. Johnson in the room? Mrs. Jacoby, would you mind grabbing Mrs. Johnson, and then I'll go forward and come right back to her side. While we're waiting for Mrs. Johnson, I'm going to share a little bit about Titan Hill that may be a little bit different than Crest. So some need to know things as your child transitions here. So this night is all about the parents and the families, making sure you have the information that you need. So, school lunches, they will no longer be free for everyone. Huge bummer, I know. Applications for free or reduced lunch will come out after July 1st, and if you qualify, your lunch will be free or 40 cents. Otherwise, your lunch will be full price. E-Funds for Schools is where you'll want to put money on your students' lunch balance. You go to the LC website, quick links, and you will see that under E-Funds for Schools. From the nurse, Mrs. Hallam couldn't be with us tonight, but one of the main differences is that once students get to Titan Hill, they may now carry their inhaler with them during the day. They don't have to keep it in the health office, as long as they have a note from the doctor saying they may do so, along with a parent signature. So that's a change from Crest to Titan Hill. And then a change in recent weeks are that students may carry cough drops with them if they have a note from the parent. They no longer need a prescription or a doctor's note for that. For arrival at Titan Hill, our doors open at 8:10, breakfast is served until 8:30, and our tardy bell rings at 8:35. So students need to be in the classroom at 8:35. Students should not be dropped off out front before 8:10 because we do not have supervision out there. So they can either wait in the car or just come a little bit later. For arrival, when you drop your students off, please pull all the way forward to the cones before dropping your student. That allows everyone to get off of the boulevard. I know sometimes it feels like not pulling forward isn't a big deal, but when we have cars lined up all the way down to the middle school on the boulevard, each of those spots helps to get those cars off the boulevard. Bus students use the pool doors when they enter, and car riders use the main entrance. And just please be aware of other traffic and students and staff that will be crossing. We've had some close calls, so we just ask you to be aware as you travel through our lot. For dismissal, we ask that you again pull all the way forward when waiting, and please use both lanes. You'll notice if you haven't been a Titan Hill parent yet, one lane does move a little bit faster than the other, so that's the preferred lane. However, same kind of thing. If we have the cars lined up down to the middle school on the boulevard, pulling around and using both lanes helps us to get them scanned and moved up, and helps with traffic and gets buses up here more quickly. And then most likely we'll be using school dismissal manager again next year, and you're likely familiar with that from CREF. so have that up and ready on your phone when you pick up. For visitors, we encourage you to volunteer in your child's classroom. Please just pre-schedule that volunteer time with your teacher. And if you would like to volunteer and be alone with any child other than your own, we do require parents to have background checks to do that. So if you would like to volunteer on a level where you'd like to be alone with students, maybe reading in the hallway with them, then you would do a background check and we will be able to work through that with you. At this time, we're not having visitors for lunch due to space. We're actually using 2 lunch spaces and we're going to extend our commons into a larger cafeteria. However, if there's a special occasion, you can always let me know and we'll find a space for you. And I think, oh, no, one more. Items from home. So please keep in mind that cell phones, when student gets to Titan Hill, they need to be out of sight throughout the day. Electronic tablets, games, and things like that from home are not allowed here at school. Students should not bring their own balls or equipment for recess. And just a reminder, multi-tools and scissors and screwdrivers and other tools like that are also restricted items. So please make sure those stay at home as well. My big 4 expectations, your student will be able to recite these to you within probably the first few weeks of school because I say them a lot. So my big 4 expectations, I say these on the announcements each and every week, and these are the 4 that I anchor all of my discipline work in with students. So number 1, if someone says no, stop, or don't, your job is to stop right away. That's just the basics of being respectful and respecting other people's space and perspectives. Number 2, hands off. That doesn't mean we never get to touch each other, but it means that we're not play fighting, we're not play kicking, we're not wrestling, we're not poking, tapping, things like that. And I often tell students that the way we play at home isn't always the way we can play at school. So I usually leverage it that way because there are things we can do at home that may look like that we don't do at school. If you cannot solve a problem peacefully, walk away or get an adult for help. One thing we push with this also is even if another student is trying not to solve that peacefully and trying to be unpeaceful, you always have the choice to walk away and get an adult and solve that problem in a peaceful way. And number 4, of course, be kind. Most problems can be solved if we just show kindness to everyone around us. Mrs. Johnson, would you like to come on up? All right, Mrs. Johnson, 2nd and 3rd grade school counselor.
That picture was from COVID when I shared that with students so they knew my family member was a dog. I do have 4 other children though. Jessie ranks right up there at the top. So I will be your child's school counselor for 2nd and 3rd grade. If you hear my name, Mrs. Johnson, from your child, just know that I will visit their classrooms on a weekly basis. I teach developmental, comprehensive, research-based lessons each week, and what they will do is help set a foundation that was created at CREFT by Mrs. Avila, and we will continue on developmentally with those 2nd step lessons. So if they say, I saw the counselor today, that's a good thing, and they typically want to come, so that's also a good thing. My job is to help them feel comfortable, acclimate them to Titan Hill, friendship types of lunch groups is something that I provide as well. I work with kids individually and also in small groups. Parents can request my support. Teachers, along with parents, we want to have that communication, can also seek my support, as well as Mrs. Barker or the administration. Anytime a child comes to my office, more than one time, I will most likely give you a call. But don't hesitate to call me back as well. Sometimes I might miss, or a student comes home and says or shares a story. That communication is super important and that we work together. If you have any questions about my job or how I can help you as a family, because many times when children come to school, it's not only a child maybe a child problem or a concern, but it's a family concern, right? We all have to work together because sometimes those kids will come to school and they will talk with me or their teacher, and it's really important that we work together. So I'm super excited to meet your kids. I've already been to Kreft to meet a few of them last couple of weeks. So seek me out if you need to talk or give me a call. Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Miss Gibson. So I wanted to share a typical day in the life of a second grader. Every day your student will have reading, writing, math, social studies, and science. They will also have lunch, recess, and a special each day. So special could be like art, PE, music, things like library as well.
Okay, I'm Mrs. Divine, the one coming down from 5th grade and going to her son's soccer game after this. School hours at Titan Hill are 8:35 to 3:25. When your child arrives in the morning, they will have two choices. One choice is to eat breakfast. If they choose to do this as they get off the bus or are dropped off by you, they will enter the school and go straight to the cafeteria to eat breakfast. If students do not want to eat breakfast, the second choice is to go directly to their classroom. Their teachers greet students as they enter the classroom, and there's usually independent work that they do as they kind of file in.
My name is Ms. Burr, and I'm a second grade classroom teacher as well. At dismissal time, the dismissal bell rings at 3:25 every day except Wednesday, which is 2:25. And I know a lot of times parents are worried about what's going to happen, how will their kid know where to go for dismissal. And I promise you that they will have an adult guiding them down the hall, outside, in the gym for bus dismissal. We make sure there's always somebody letting them know when it's their turn to go, where they need to go, and there we have lots of teachers in the hallway to help. So we do use, as Mrs. Barker mentioned, we will likely be using the Dismissal Manager app again. It's very, very helpful for teachers and staff because it allows you to go in the morning. If your student has a dentist appointment or something, you can change that so we have that updated information right away. So we really encourage you to utilize that if you are able to do so. It says, let's see, you'll get information about using the app before we start school. And as I mentioned, on Wednesdays, we do dismiss at 2:25. So if your student is a car rider, when you enter your app information, we'll know to send them out. There'll be adults out there to escort them into cars. If your student is a car rider, when their bus is ready, they'll come down to the gym and line up and they'll be escorted out to their bus. So they will have adult help and adult supervision at all times.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Titan Hill, or as the first graders say, it's the Hill, Mom. It's not Titan Hill, it's called the Hill, if you're cool. Anyway, students will be asked to bring supplies if they're able. Tonight, I believe, on one side of your sheet, it talks about the summer slide, and the other side has the supply list. If you're like a lot of us and you lose that sheet between now and next fall, you can go to the Titan Hill website, go under For Parents, and you can find the supply list there. I believe on the 31st, when the first graders visit, they'll get a supply list. And we know most every store has them out there, but just remember that you can always go to the website and find any information that you need.
I'm Mrs. Kerber, another second grade teacher, and
When your children come up here to Titan Hill, in the morning they have the option of going to breakfast. As been mentioned before, they have two options at breakfast. They have a warm cooked meal or they have a grab and go cold option. They have the same option at lunchtime. So there's always a nice warm hot meal, and then there's a second grab and go option. We have amazing nutrition staff up here at Titan Hill, just like they did down at Kraft, and there's hardly any meals up here that go uneaten, so they will enjoy them immensely.
I'm Miss Sitters, another second grade teacher. We wanted to let you know that every student will get their own Chromebook to use at school. They are touchscreen, so if they're familiar with iPads, it's kind of like the same thing. They will use these to collaborate with each other, to create different projects, to communicate their thoughts, reflect on things, and we use them a lot for assessments. So it's really important that they also have a pair of headphones, not earbuds. Headphones work a lot better for us, and they don't break as easily. So we would encourage you to invest in a great pair of headphones.
I'm Mrs. Longmire, and I'm going to talk about PBIS. PBIS stands for Positive Behaviors, Interventions, and Supports, and we award positive behavior with Titan points. Those positive behaviors we're looking for is be respectful, be responsible, be ready to learn. They earn those points, and then one time each month they get to use those points to purchase stuff in our school store. A lot of teachers have little classroom stores, and they love it.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Cox, and I'm just talking a little bit about what we do in each of our subjects. We have reading, and in reading we start our unit with having the kids become great lifelong learners, and we also do guided reading groups. In writing, the students are engaged in multiple writing units, including narrative and nonfiction. In math, we use illustrative math, and we learn about numbers to 1,000, time, money, and an introduction to multiplication. And in science, we study living things, erosion, and states of matter. And in social studies, we learn about the government, wants, and needs. And we also teach phonics every day to help us become better readers and writers.
So that kind of takes you through the day of a second grader. One of the things we do like to do while we have you guys here is just a reminder that we really encourage you to keep your students intellectually engaged during the summer. Now that doesn't mean they have to be doing workbooks and doing 100 math problems a day, but we do have some really awesome ideas about ways to keep your child from avoiding what they call the summer slide, which is where their academics slide a little bit backwards. So I'm going to turn, on your handout sheet, there's a QR code that you can use for links, and I'm going to let Mrs. Manny talk about that.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Matney. I'm coming over from Council Bluffs, so I'm eager to join the LC family. Welcome. I created a slide for you guys. So we talk about how your kids have strong foundational skills from first grade, and then they have a couple months of break in the summer, which is great for their minds. It's great for them to play and have fun. We want them to be able to continue to stay strong in those foundational skills. So I have this QR code, you can scan it on this, you can use your paper, and it sends you right down to apps that you can download for your kids. It breaks down their learning in academics and social emotional, and then if you click on, like if you go to academics, it'll tell you what upcoming skills your child will need for second grade. If you click on math, it'll tell you different ideas at home that you can do, and then I also typed up some different ideas on there if you don't want to click on them. But my favorite part is the bottom part about community resources. For the last 12 years, I've always had parents say, so what do I do with them at the end of the year? What do I do with them in the summer? What fun things? These are all different places that you can visit in Council Bluffs. Some are free, some are donations. So it's just great ideas for you to stay busy and active. Thank you.
All right, before we set you off to explore Titan Hill just a little bit, and we have some signs, I'll kind of explain that to you, where you'll be heading. Are there any questions that you have for myself or anyone up here? Yes. If you have more than one student, they all should roll into one account. So like when but I think you have to put money on their accounts separately. So, Andrea, correct? All together? Okay. So you can do all their accounts at once. They should be tied together. Okay? So no, we ask all parents to stay in their cars because we'll have, as you notice, we have one entrance and one exit to Titan Hill. So that line will be all the way up the hill, and we'll have a lane open for buses to be able to get up to the pool entrance, because that's where bus riders will come out. So as you come up, you'll wait in line and you'll pull right up to the curb, and we'll have 2 lines. So once those 2 lines are there and all cars are stopped, we have lines painted on the sidewalk. There's a yellow line and a red line, so we teach students that once you always stay behind the yellow line until you see your car, then you can step up to that red line. And that indicates to an adult that their ride is here. Then an adult will walk them to the car or to the curb, depending on which lane the car is in. So we don't necessarily have a walk-up option. If that is something that you need to do, then I would just recommend as you come up, parking in our lot and then walking across our crosswalk. Good question. So we have our classroom sizes range from about 22 to 24 students depending on the grade level. Yes. 2 recesses across the building. Yep. On Wednesdays, older students get 1 recess, but 2nd and 3rd graders get a shorter 2nd recess as well due to the early out Wednesdays. So we do still give that 2nd time to our youngest students. So we do not use Seesaw as a building. However, some teachers use Seesaw. Raise your hand if you use Seesaw to communicate. Any other questions? I'm going to give an uncomfortable amount of wait time on this one just to make sure. All right.
I should have printed my slip, and I didn't. I forgot part of my task. In the fall, we do have a drop-off supply night that families can come, bring their supplies for their child so they don't have to bring them on the bus or they don't have to load them in by themselves. You get to come into the classroom and meet the teacher and help your child unload.
And the date of that is yet to be determined. We're kind of surveying our teachers right now to see if they prefer that Friday or Monday. So we will get that out to you as soon as we know. Hopefully, definitely, probably next week is the last week of school, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, already. So yes, by the last day of school, we will have that to you. Time flies. All right. If you have any other questions, yes, go ahead. No, you're fine. I believe all of that is sent out in the fall. Yes. As far as what time they'll be picked up, correct? Yep. If you have additional questions, we will be down here. We will also be stationed in the different parts of the building for you. Feel free to grab any one of us and ask us a question. We'll now give you some time to explore a few parts of the building. You'll see some pink signs along the hallways. So the hallways you're going to want to look at is this back hallway. We have a sign pointing to the musical playground this way. And this way down the back hallway, you can visit Mrs. Jacoby's music room and the large playground. In our middle hallway, going down this way, you can visit the library. And then in our very front hallway, you'll see pink signs directing you towards our 2nd grade pods. You can visit our 2nd grade pods and visit some classrooms, and there will be staff in each of those locations to answer questions or to help direct you to a location that you are looking for. We are so happy that you all came. Please grab us again if you have any questions. And on your way out, if you didn't sign in on your way in, there is a sign-in sheet on the small table by our office door. If you could please sign in for us so we could get a count. If you need a handout, right, Ms. Dixon? Perfect. She has some extra.